All right, here we go. I don't know what you're doing, but you need to join us now.
Oh.
Hang up and hang out, Gavin.
Welcome to Immersed into...
Can you redo that intro? I'm sorry.
Welcome to Immersed into the Future. We are watching Connect, Facebook Connect, which Facebook's now Meta.
Meta.
I don't know if who here knew that. We're about to go watch that stream right now, though, and give our own takes, our own comments on it. A lot of people have asked us, what does this mean for the future of Immersed? One of the world's biggest companies ever to make a pivot to go all towards virtual reality like this. This is huge for us. And so now this is going to be our response as a virtual reality company, creating the future of work and what we have to say about it. All right, so let's go ahead and start.
Hey,
there's
and
Marky
welcome
Mark.
to Connect.
Our boy Mark.
Today, we're going to talk about the metaverse.
Dude, he's got barbecue sauce on that bookshelf.
He does. Sweet Baby Ray's.
That straight up is
That's
what
Memphis
in the world?
Best back there.
That was a meme.
Wow. No kidding. Dang, I thought I was the first to notice that.
I'm also vibing. I'm really vibing with this house.
We're going to talk about the future. So let's start by exploring what different kinds of metaverse experiences could feel like, starting with the most important experience of all.
Connectivity.
Immersed.
Immersed.
That was a little bit of a weird transition right there.
Oh, man, I was going to say, man, we do that kind of transition all the time here.
Imagine you put on your glasses or headset.
That's such a dope environment.
Yeah, they did a great job.
What's up, Mark?
Whoa, we're floating
So
in space.
I think this section's actually super interesting with the different types of avatars because, like, currently Facebook's avatar SDK is pretty locked down to like one style.
Yeah.
But here, Mark basically, spells out that you're going to have multiple different styles based on the use case, and I think that's really cool to see. Hey, look at that quick menu.
Nice.
On the wrist.
Hey.
Yeah, I agree. I love the idea of having as much choice as you want, depending on the environment that you're in. So, like, especially when they talk about the cartoonish versions, like photorealistic versus just something that looks nothing like you. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool to be able to take something that was in the real world, scan it, and then put it in VR.
Yeah, for real. I'm personally really excited about the AR implications of the metaverse. Thinking about Pokemon Go and what Pokemon Go did, but now bringing that to so many different use cases. Like this really cool 3D art experience where people leaving Easter eggs in the city, and then having like full-scale citywide like treasure hunts, but it's in AR, and there's like a game where you compete against everyone. I mean, there's so many like implications that you can do in AR. It's gonna be really fun to see how that grows.
I do think the environment mapping piece is going to become a reality sooner rather than later. They already have SDKs to bring your furniture in, spatial anchors and things like that on other headsets, like Microsoft HoloLens and stuff like that. So it'll be super cool when you're actually able to, change your surroundings based on whatever your mood and feel is that day.
Yeah.
There's something that I'm thinking about too is how Facebook is going to synergize with this decentralized economy, because they're kind of complete opposites, right? You have this giant monolithic company that's basically completely centralized, and then this other completely decentralized economy that kind of are at odds with each other. And I know they referenced it a few times in this stream, but it's still I'm not sure how exactly they'll integrate in, if they will play along nicely or not. Though it is obvious that Facebook right now is the one leading the charge towards VR, and the metaverse is clearly in VR, AR, all of this space, and NFTs kind of are the most important aspect, or one of the most important towards ownership of digital goods. So I don't know, it's something to think about.
What was your guys' first thoughts when we were watching this for the very first time? And because we were already very familiar with Horizon Workrooms and stuff, that wasn't anything new to us.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts when you first heard about it?
Horizons and Workrooms, and Horizon Workrooms like Conjunction and all the other competitors in the space, they're doing something that's still fundamentally different than what Immersed is and what we're about. So even though the social collaborative part is, something that we want to be part of Immersed, we are focused on making sure that they're productive, making sure that they have the tools that they need in order to, spend long sessions. So that's fundamentally different than what I think Workrooms and Spatial and all these other competitors are doing, where they're just trying to bring people together.
At least the way they communicated to us was they were trying to use Workrooms as a little bit more experimental, because as soon as there's something that's broken, they can just push out a quick quick fix. Whereas if they deploy it to all these developers, like right at launch, then it's like, wait, we have to push a fix and see if it works in Workrooms. Then we get to push a fix to everyone else's thing. So it was just more, at least it's how they phrased it, around using Workrooms to experiment with that type of stuff. Once it's ready to be deployed to the masses, then they give us access to it. One thing that was pretty mind-blowing, I think when we were watching this for the first time, it was hitting me super hard that like one of the biggest tech giants on the planet is going all in on VR, and Immersed is working on the most practical application of that for everyday people. We talk about how, we have tens of thousands of people who use Immersed today. It was like, well, a year from now it could be hundreds of thousands or millions.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just hitting me super hard when first watching this.
Immersed can ride Facebook's network effects towards, building out the Quest platform and having billions of people join VR. So, it's super exciting and super validating to see Facebook go all in and see the future with this.
In that video clip, they're using smart glasses in conjunction with the phone that everyone is used to today. And I think that's actually a really good thing to see, because people are like, well, wait, my phone's gonna go away if I get these smart glasses? And it's like, no, all of these things can kind of work together.
I think they're synergistic, not adversarial, right? Like, there's just things you'll want to do on your phone versus like on a headset. So I just don't see phones ever really going away.
Because thinking about trying to put a supercomputer onto your face is like, there's so many challenges to overcome that. So I imagine that Meta is going to have to come with some form, like some physical device like a phone or something that you put in your pocket that shares compute with. So now we have 5G when that goes at scale nationwide, and then 6G, and when you have such fast streaming capabilities or service capabilities that the latency is virtually zero, like that's going to open up so many different opportunities. So maybe in like 2028, your computer lives in a server farm somewhere in Utah, because we have 6G nationwide and it's crazy fast. There's no latency, and you can have a computer being streamed into your glasses as you're walking down the street or as you're experiencing stuff like this. And I think that we could easily do that 6-7 years from now.
Like, the exponential rate of progress is just mind-blowing.
Obviously, we're biased at Immersed, and we've said this multiple times, but us starting, like, if we really want to see mass adoption in the metaverse, it needs to start with something practical. And I think we can point to the example of the iPhone. It was a practical use case. You could have your phone, you had a web browser, you had internet, you had email.
You had your iPod.
You had a camera on your phone. That was crazy at the time. And then there was games that were built on the iPhone, but I think it was mass adopted because it was practical, and it was a productivity and life enhancer. And so in the same way, we're building that for Immersed, but then we can over time incorporate some fun features into it, some different avatars, purchasing virtual real estate, like customizing your own office or your or mega office if you're actually a big corporation. But I think starting with the practicality, we'll see mass adoption.
And you can call us biased, but you tell me, why don't all of your family members go out and buy VR headsets today? Oh, it's a toy. It's for games.
Right. I don't need it. Right.
No one in our families use VR headsets on the regular.
Yep.
Why is that? Because they don't have a practical use case.
For sure.
But enough with the fun and games.
Fun and games.
It's time for everyone's favorite. Work.
And grab the mug.
Let's take a look at what working in the metaverse will be like.
Now, do we think that AR or VR is going to be the more prominent tool or XR usage preference 10 years from now for work?
I think it depends where you are. If you're at a coffee shop, you're going to be in AR.
Right.
If you're at home, probably VR.
Or if you have this bougie home office, you can use your bougie AR glasses. But like if you're living out of your bedroom and have roommates and need to focus,
VR, just you're more immersed in another world, and you don't have the skybox that you're around that's around you.
Okay, so it's more distractionless.
Yeah.
I think it's ready.
Man, I'm just trying to think about how in the world are they going to fit the face and body tracking technology into an AR glasses.
I actually don't think it's that difficult to do face and body tracking. Like, it's already pretty far along on a mobile device, given that you have the right algorithm. And like, I think it was, I don't know if it was Archibest or somebody that was saying that like the compute available on phones or just in general for like deep learning applications is growing at something like 60% compounded year over year.
Wow.
So like, it's the amount of compute that's available is just exploding.
Yeah. So what's just real quick, explain to people what the difference is between what we just saw and what Immersed can do. Like that
we do multiple screens. If you're trying to do Photoshop on one thing, Adobe Premiere on another, You can't do that there. This is browser based.
This is all also native applications that live on the Oculus. This is not like you bringing your computer screen into VR. So for example, if you're someone who has native computer apps that you can't run, say it's Unity, or say it's a 3D CAD software, or say it's just or whatever software is on your Mac, your PC, your Linux, these are not your screens in VR replicated. Like this is just like a web SaaS app like brought into VR. Now it's a VR app. And so in Immersed, you can have multiple screens. Right now we have 5. In the future, we may bring more. And you can do whatever you want on those computer screens. And we're using the computing power of your computer, not the computing power of your headset.
It's not on the Oculus store. It can't be brought into VR.
Correct.
That's correct.
Until you use Immersed, which you can do anything you can do on your computer, you can bring into VR.
Yep.
He also just shared, though, about no longer using your social media account with working.
That's a smart move.
That's a new move.
Yeah.
That's a very smart move. Like the amount of companies that were leaving out by doing that, because a lot of people definitely don't want to link their work to their Facebook account. That's a big no. So it makes sense that they backtracked on that.
Smart.
Yeah, Gavin and I were very adamant about that with our meetings with them. Like, like we cannot that's the biggest point of feedback. People don't want to connect their Facebook accounts, and so it's really cool to see them implementing that change.
We'll aim to offer developer and
Oh, by the way, Renji had to step out for something, so I'm the captain now.
For people, the metaverse will offer more choice than we've ever seen before. And most importantly, there will be a real sense of continuity, where the things you buy are always available to you.
But I think there is something to be said that's really important about digital property rights. Even if you're a minimalist, right? You still want to have ownership towards a thing that is yours.
Sure.
Yeah.
The most things, right? If you are in a game, gaming is just the easiest example, but like, let's say you're in an MMO, there's some weapon that you work really hard to get, but at any moment this could be taken away by the, studio developers, right? Because there's no like intrinsic ownership right from yourself.
Yeah,
sure.
So I think NFTs in the metaverse are like, some of the most cohesive ideas that kind of come together. And I think it's super important. So it's more so the property rights rather than the crazy monkey profile pictures and all this other jazz that's happening. I think it's just the technology is important. It's just how do we implement it so that it's useful to other people, you know?
So I guess what's been different about this than any other time is that you can carry your purchases to multiple different spaces, whereas if I make a purchase inside an app, it has to stay inside that app. That's not the case with this.
Exactly. That's key. That's what makes NFTs so powerful, right? It's this transferability of ownership from platform to platform.
I really gotta get my album out.
And I'm just
Or even buying a pair of Ray-Bans in real life means because you spent the $200-something on a pair of glasses, you get a essentially free 3D model. It's the same thing that you bought, but you get to put it on your avatar. And
that's wild.
I think that would be super cool to see, where it's not necessarily a dystopian future. We're still paying for the physical things that we currently do, but we get to have the digital representation of those brought over.
So today, we're introducing the Interaction SDK, a library of modular components that will make it easy to add hand interactions to your apps.
Is that easy?
How did I miss this?
Did you not see that before?
What?
So they're adding an SDK. Explain that. What does that mean?
So an SDK is a software development kit. And for them to be providing an SDK means they're going to make it easier for, rather than having to build this experience from the ground up, you can have higher fidelity experiences kind of right out of the box. So if you want a mechanism in your game where you're playing virtual barista and you have to grab a bottle, rather than having to hire an artist or someone to pose the hands or some crazy programmer to figure out how to rig the physics, they're giving these tools away, which is really interesting because hand interactions are definitely the future of XR, since we use them so often now. But to be giving it away for free, that's huge.
There's so much research being put in by Facebook that I've noticed on hand-object interaction, and there's so much difficulty involved as to, like you're saying, how do you pose the hand based on the size of the object and the orientation. I think one of the things that people don't consider is just how difficult object interactions are with your environment, because they have to figure out the mesh of everything around you, right? Especially for AR, I think that's what makes it so difficult compared to VR, where in VR you don't have to worry about interactions between a real world object and then this digital object. But with AR, that is the most important thing. And using only computer vision, that's a super, super hard problem, especially when it comes to occlusions and lighting and all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
To reflect who we are
this is dope.
and what we hope to build, I am proud to announce that starting today, our company is now Meta.
Hey.
Bringing people together.
What do we think?
It really is amazing how they've just like tripled, quadrupled down on this idea of like VR in the metaverse.
I swear by everything in me, we will be the metaverse.
I mean, I think it's a cool name,
It's
and I
cool.
think he does a good job justifying it.
No, I'm not mad at it.
Wow.
And I think it's pretty dope. And I think that the future of VR and the future of our company and the future of Meta and all other types of companies that are in this space have a lot of work ahead, but are getting recognized for the hard work they've already put in.
Amen. It's going to be very promising for all of us, especially just getting more people in VR. Try it.
We're convinced this is going to be the future, and we are inviting you to come join us, whether you want to help support Immersed or not, but supporting the VR, AR ecosystem and helping give feedback to whatever developers you're working with, applications you're using, whether it's Meta, whether it's Apple, which will come out with their stuff in the future. It's important to get people in to jump in, so the iteration process, the process of developing it and making it better holistically will go faster and more smoothly.
Right.
And also, it's just super freaking cool, and you should join us.